Hello, and welcome to episode 17 of our podcast, Anime Territory.
You almost clubbed again.
I almost.
Anyway. What, take 3?
Anyways, I'm your host this week, Benjamin Shabbing, and with me, as always, is Johnny. I want to go back, Ruhal. Hello.
Okay. It's really throwing me off. Your glasses are off right now, and it's like, who is this man?
It's too hot to be wearing glasses.
I can turn the air conditioning back on. It's just, it finally got cold for like a day, and I'm like, yes, we can turn it off. And then it got back up to 19.
It's fine. It's fine in the other rooms.
Yes. We don't have a fan in here, which even if we did, I probably want to have it on for recording purposes.
So this week, which changed up the plan a little bit, we are talking about the anime Remake Our Life.
Yep. We were going to do a movie double feature. We are still planning on talking about both those movies, but they will be released separately, possibly as specials, possibly as episodes. I'm not going to promise anything, but we will try to record those things separately. I think we're just trying to get away from double features for get them good old clicks.
Yep. So Remake Our Life, anime that just ended.
Watched the last episode last night.
Yep.
It ended a couple of days ago, but we were a little bit behind in finishing it. We have already talked about this show.
A little bit, yeah. It was part of our, summer impressions?
Summer. Which doesn't feel like, because we're in fall. We're in fall now, but...
Yeah. It's weird. You guys remember the last season.
Yeah.
So, Remake Our Life. Just want to go straight into impressions /
Yeah. General impressions, no spoilers at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It makes a turn that I don't really appreciate. Though I think it kind of comes back. It was jarring, and I'm like, oh no, this is what this show is going to be. I don't want this, but I feel like going forward, it would be more of what I want again.
Okay, so you think it'd be better watching it again because...
No. I think if they release a season 2...
Oh, okay.
I like what they would be doing in that. I didn't like around, towards the end, it made a sudden change in what this show was about. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want it to, continue in that trend.
Gotcha.
And I can talk more about that in spoiler territory.
Anything else?
It was definitely worth watching. It was one of the 2 shows we actually ended up watching from that. I still feel like I might go back and watch some of them. I do want to watch more of The Detective Is Already Dead. It's just we fell off of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I might just watch that without you sort of thing. Wow. Okay, well, it's not my fault. Well, it is partially my fault because I'm not always in the mood to watch anime when you're home.
I have the same impression as you. I really liked the first 3, probably 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And then after that 5th episode, it just kind of fell off for me. It switched its tone a little bit, and it just kind of switched its premise on me. That, again, I understand why they did it. I can kind of appreciate why they did it. It's just not what I wanted.
Yes. It's not the show I was signed up for.
Yes.
I got sent to the wrong summer camp. Mm-hmm. Still fun. Still summer camp. But it's not what I signed up for. Mm-hmm. Which is fine. They're not beholden to my wants.
So yeah, that's our general impressions.
Okay.
Anything else?
Spoiler free.
Okay.
Would you recommend somebody watch this if they like a certain genre? And which genre would you say?
I would say yes if you like a mix of genres. If you're looking for something specific, like a slice of life, I don't think you're going to like it. If you want a straight drama, I don't think you're going to like it.
If you want a straight romance, there's hints there, but I was not.
Yeah, if you're looking for this, don't look for this if you want a romance.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about
a little bit.
But if you like those things and you don't mind things being a little sci-fi at times, then I would say, yeah, go ahead. It's definitely worth watching this season. I feel like the main character, a lot of main characters can be pretty blah. I feel like this one is less so. He's still kind of an everyman.
Yeah, he's still a little blah.
But, I mean, I can't help but compare it. I watched a show called Omori Himari or something. This just randomly this past week because I was bored. Mm-hmm. And it's trash. I knew what I was signing up for when I got into that show, and it delivered. But damn, is that main character so blah. Yeah. And the problem there, that show has got like so many girls that it adds because it's a harem, and it's just like there's no time for the main character to be anything other than generic nice guy. Yeah. In fact, I think even one of the characters was thinking back to her thoughts of him when they were kids, and she was like, I don't know, he's kind of just nice and nothing else. But it's just like, okay, it's just.
So I think this character, his name's Kyoya. He is a little bit of an everyman, a little blah, but with that first episode, it sets him up to where you kind of understand
you understand why he's as capable as he is,
the way he is.
He's got an advantage on life, that's for sure, and he, is a nice guy, but not to the point that he's can do no wrong, and is just there to be swayed by the whims of whatever girl is trying to hump him at this time. Yeah. So that's nice, which I feel like anime has gotten better about. Okay. Having main characters that are a little bit more than
a little more nuanced.
Yeah, but he's definitely a step up, but not necessarily. He's no Okabe Rentaro. He's not
charismatic.
Yeah, he's charismatic in the show. He is considered charismatic, I believe.
Alright, I'd give him like a +2 to charisma, I think.
14 charisma is not bad.
It's not bad.
10 is an average human.
Okay. Average human is 10. I might move it down to 12. Maybe 13.
Look, man.
Just give him that extra.
He's got the 13, but it's still only a +1 modifier. So, but he levels up. Gets level 4. Boom. You can put a +1 in that and put a +1 in something else. And then instead of having to put a +2 into it. That's and that concludes D&D talk. I'm sure it will come back.
Well, I like that idea. Just rating everybody based on D&D scores.
Try to find their stats. Okay, let's do it. Fuck it, let's do it.
What is Koya? It's probably like 6. I don't know.
I would give him a 10 strength.
Just a 10 base.
He's an average 10 strength.
Okay.
But average human. Not bad at it, but not necessarily a strong suit of his.
Okay.
Dexterity, I'd give him a 16.
Really?
Maybe a 14. But I'm more thinking like hand-eye coordination. He's good at typing, sort of like.
Okay, so we got to think of this a little bit more like human thing. Okay.
Yeah. He's not an acrobat.
Yeah.
But he's not like he is. And I think he's got like a little bit of like drawing skill and a little bit of.
Mm-hmm. He's got a good eye. He's got an editing.
Yeah.
A little bit of dexterity to it.
Yeah. Not perfect, but that's kind of where I'm throwing in that category. So let's give him a 14.
Okay.
I think that's being a little generous. Maybe 14.
I'm gonna write this down. Hold on.
Constitution.
Kyoya. Strength. 10.
Okay.
Dex. 14.
Yep. Okay. Constitution, I would also give him at least a 14. Maybe a 15 in Constitution because of the all-nighters that they have to pull to get projects out.
Yeah.
That's going to add to your Constitution score.
Unless there's a lot of resolve, too.
Yes.
Let's do 16.
Okay.
All right. Wisdom.
He's wise beyond his years.
Okay, so what's the difference between wisdom and intelligence?
Okay, so intelligence is knowing that... You're going to hate me for this. Intelligence is knowing that Frankenstein is the name of the doctor. Wisdom is knowing that Dr. Frankenstein is the true monster.
Okay. Why would I hate that?
I don't know. Because I don't know. It's something I used to say years ago. Okay. That I probably said to an annoying amount. So intelligence is book smart.
Book smart, wisdom.
Wisdom is, being able to just read the mood, read atmosphere.
So I would say
knowing when to act versus what to do.
So what would you give wisdom? Because on the surface, he kind of has a high wisdom, but as the show goes, I don't know, it feels like he's contradicting his wisdom.
I would say, let's give him 16 in wisdom and a 16 in intelligence.
Oh, okay.
He's not the smartest person out there, but he's got a leg up on people because of the show.
Okay.
And then the wisdom is, I mean, you need, I think, wisdom to have the role that he has in the show, which is basically like producer, editor. You need to know you need to be able to weigh your options. And I think that falls under wisdom more than intelligence.
Okay.
And then charisma, we already gave him a 13.
He's pretty good stats.
It's not bad. Not bad stats.
Pretty good character.
Yeah. I mean, it's, he has that. I mean, we're in spoiler territory now, right?
Sure, we'll go into spoiler territory.
Yeah, so it's like, you know how a druid, when they wild shape into an animal, they get the animal's physical stats, but they keep their mental stats?
Sure.
So when he time leaps,
he got
10
his
years
mental
have passed.
stats.
He keeps his mental stats from those 10 years. And he gets the physical stats of his younger body. So,
Gotcha.
So he's got that advantage there.
Okay.
Now maybe if we were looking like full on into building the character, we'd be like giving him skill proficiencies and stuff instead of having quite so high a score. But just assuming no skill proficiencies or regular skill proficiencies, I think his stats are fairly okay.
Okay.
Can't use magic, so wisdom and intelligence don't really do much when you're not a magic user anyway. So
time travel magic?
I would give that as an ability. Spellcasting is an ability, right, in D&D. So I would say this is a separate ability.
Gotcha.
He can't use his stat. And it's quite possible that time travel is not his stat, it's the other character's stat. Pink-haired girl. Because she's like the catalyst.
We'll talk about that, because like she doesn't start the first one, does she?
She does not start the first one unless, and I'd have to double check this, but I feel like I saw her image as the character on the game he was making when he loses his job at that one company.
Okay.
Or somebody that looked like her. I feel like I saw like a flashback of a scene like that. But I'm like, wait a minute. And then I never looked further into it.
Gotcha.
So it's possible she is a catalyst.
Okay.
Or even that
she's definitely the catalyst for the next two. But
yeah. For the next two time travels that happen, she is the catalyst. Which, if we're going to get into it, that's part of the thing that I don't like, is that they introduce more time travel. But I think we should hold that conversation for a little bit longer.
Okay.
So, if we did our D&D bit here, we're, I don't know, 13 minutes into the record. We had a few false starts, so it's hard to say for sure.
It's fine.
So I think we can move on to episode synopsis, unless you've got more general stuff you want to talk about.
No, I think everything else I want to talk about is more
Spoilerific.
spoilery stuff.
Okay.
So we kind of went over this probably in that review, but basic plot is guy named Kyoya Hashiba is a 28-year-old who has to move back in with his parents after being laid off at a video game company. He regrets his decision he made going to university rather than an art school. And he feels like if he had gone to art school, he could be part of this platinum generation, which is just a bunch of artists.
It's like the Dream Team. It's
like Gen 4 Pokemon. It's the platinum generation.
I was going to bring it back to Chrono Trigger, a game we stream before episodes drop.
I'd block it out.
No, it's just that game and the game Blue Dragon were made by a super team of creators. The Akira Toriyama, the artist behind Dragon Quest and Dragon Ball Z, the creator of Dragon Quest and the creator of Final Fantasy. And also they got like a good composer from one of those games too. But it's like that was, hey, here's a collaborative effort with some of the top creators in the field.
The 1992 Dream Team.
Yeah.
Jordan, Magic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's they're a super team. They've not necessarily worked together before, but
they're like the heights of their professions.
Yeah,
tops.
They're in their A game. They're
Yeah, I got you. They're the dream team. I think we could stop at that. I think everybody knows what the dream team is.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the people who make Chrono Trigger, the dream team.
Yeah, anyways, he feels like he could have been part of them if he had gone to art school. He then goes to sleep, wakes up 10 years in the past to basically the day he made a decision, and now he decides he's going to go to art school rather than university.
Yeah. And part of this decision was he went to a regular university because he chickened out and he thought, I'm not going to get a creative position because I'm not a creative. I don't think that highly of myself. But then he ended up getting a creative position anyway. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I got so far without the formal training, just with what I could pick up. Yeah. Like, if I had gotten that formal training...
It's not at the beginning, but they do kind of... I think they cut back to him at his job before he gets fired and everything. And he's kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah, jack of all trades.
Good at his
He's
job.
A bard.
Yeah.
That's his D&D class, is bard. They get jack of all trades. Plus $2. Plus 2 to all skills you're not proficient in.
Human bard. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So like he's a editor, producer. He is the you need a creative solution found to a problem, not necessarily the smartest solution, but what we can do with the budget. He's your guy to figure that out. Game gets canned. He was like a part-time hire anyway, so he gets canned when the game gets canned.
Yeah.
But he's like, if I dedicated myself to actually learning my craft, maybe I could be at the top of the field like this Platinum generation was. And, I want to go back in time to better myself and possibly give this an actual good shot. Because maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Yes. So that's what he does.
Yep.
He goes to art school. He moves into a share house with some roommates. Your roommates are Akishino. She's an artist. Nanako Kaguri. She's a singer. And then Tsuruyuhi Rokonoji.
I'd have to see it spelled to know. Tsuruyuki, maybe?
It's Tsurayuhi. Tsuruyuhi.
Tsuruyuhi, I guess. Sure. We should note that at this point in the show, we don't know that Akishino is an artist. She kind of keeps that hidden.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We don't know that Nanako wants to sing, because she's not that... Actually, she's like kind of tone deaf at this point. She is more going into being an actor. Mm-hmm. We do know that Tsuruyuhi is going to try to be a writer, though.
Mm-hmm. But those are his roommates. They all have class together, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, they're in the same art school and in the same like media arts division of that. So,
also I wrote down Iko Kawasagawa. Yeah, who is another classmate / his old boss.
Yes, the job he had before in the game industry. She was the person who brought him on. And was in charge of that project, and she is now.
Remember, it's because he thought she was going to jump off a bridge.
Yeah,
so he tackled her.
She's like, "Did I really look that suicidal?" I was like, "I don't know, maybe." I didn't want somebody to die in front of me.
Yeah, so that's your gist of episode 1. Him going back to school, him meeting his roommates, and him starting his life as a college student again.
Yep.
Episode 2, we go straight into their first project. They have to make a short 3-minute video. They're having issues trying to figure out with an idea. Kyo comes with an idea. It's soon realized that... I'm just going to call him Suri.
The writer. Just call him the writer.
Okay, I'm going to call him the writer. The writer actually has that same idea, like, locked up in, like, a safe. It's like... And then he confronts him like, hey, where did you get this idea? Because I had the exact same idea written down.
And it's called parallel ideas. It happens all the damn time. But he does remember, wait a minute, I read this in a book that was released in the future of short stories.
Yes.
I think I did plagiarize this from him unintentionally.
Or at least somebody.
Yeah. I think he mentions that it was... I think we can put the pieces together. That it was him.
Because we don't get his pen name until later, so I didn't know if he actually said the name or not.
Okay, so I think you wrote his name down wrong because it's Tsurayuki.
Tsurayuki?
Tsurayuki.
Oh, I wrote an H instead. Okay. Tsurayuki.
Tsurayuki.
The writer.
Yep.
Okay. My bad. I wrote it right there at the same time. But yeah, they have that discussion, and then they go to make the short, and they grab the wrong camera. They grabbed a camera, not a camera.
They grabbed
a photography camera, not a video camera.
Exactly. So they're like, I mean, we don't have time to
get another camera
and get our child actor organized here. What can we do? And then they come up with they call somebody they know that does a bunch of photography stuff,
which I think starts episode 3.
Okay. And they're like, hey, what's some advice for using this type of camera? Because it's not, the camera we've been learning about. And he's like, okay, well, you want to set up your shot like this. So they set up the camera in one place, and then they just take time-lapse photos of it. And then they tell their story that way.
What is it? I was thinking about it last night. I called it live-action claymation.
It's time-lapse. They have one shot that they take with a phone camera of the train passing by. And they use that as an in-between for the stages of life. They reuse that footage. So it's a little bit crappier footage, but it doesn't matter because it's a moving train. It's going to be, it's going to look blurred anyway because it's moving.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise the rest of it is just actual photos that they do.
Gotcha.
They have, I guess their school is also a competition for the things because they get second place when they
get third place.
They get third place?
That's what the synopsis said.
Oh, okay. I thought it was second. But the person who gets first place, the chief, she was his former boss.
Yeah.
She was like, why did they get third place? They should have... That was the best movie at the time.
The teacher / her sister.
Her sister was well, it wasn't intentional, so it... you might have thought there was some theme there, but it was not.
This was completely by accident.
And I think she's and there was other... Completely
I thought
by
at
accident.
one point it's technically it's not a video, it's just a bunch of pictures. So we got some points off for that.
Well, I think it was a video of them putting a bunch of pictures in play, but whatever. Because they were the story was told by pictures being placed on a desk, so I think it was a video of the pictures being placed on whatever. And there was some other points, I think, for just there were some technical things here and there that were wrong. It wasn't just it's an accident, so I'm docking points, because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Accidental genius is still genius. But then at that point, the teacher's like, I'm going to put you in their group too, and have a super group or whatever. Yeah. And then I think their next one, they win.
Yeah, they work with her, and I think they win.
Yeah, but they feel like they shouldn't have won that one because Nanako's acting was not as good as the acting of another.
You're skipping an episode.
Look, man, you want me to fill time or not? Or you want to just read down verbatim one sentence that you wrote per episode? All right?
No, the only thing left is at the end of that episode, Nanako asks Kyoya to help her with her singing because she's basically tone deaf, so she wants Kyoya's help to figure out what she's doing wrong to fix it.
Yeah, she's got a lot of good points to her singing, but she's off key.
Yeah.
So it's okay, this is some sort of quasi, is this good, is this bad sort of thing. So,
and then you get into the part where she's criticized for her acting.
Yes. Yeah. And they're like, hey, if you wanted to go into singing, you should have gone into singing. Don't half-ass acting because you're already okay at it when you think you're bad at singing. Whole ass, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. If you want to go into singing, go into singing. Just don't act then or whatever. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me, there's an anime that I watched and then I had to read the manga. I think the short name was Boku Ben or something.
Did you say Ben?
And it was a show about people who were... There's two characters that were one of them was a math genius, one of them was like a literary genius.
Mm-hmm.
But the literary genius wanted to be an astronomer, and the math genius wanted to like make board games or something.
Okay.
And like they were just not good at the fields they wanted to go into, and because they were, and everyone was like, "Why don't you just go be a math professor? Because you're really good at it, and you suck at."
That's not his passion.
You suck at board games because you cannot read people's emotions, and you just can't tell like subtext and stuff when reading things. But it's just like, okay. And then the main character is a guy who's not the best at everything, but studies hard, so he's made their tutor.
Just one of those everymen.
Yep. I don't know. I like that. It was a show where all routes were canon.
All routes were canon.
They did an ending for each girl. Okay. And then they did
So I had like 20 different endings?
It had 5 different endings.
Oh,
and then they have like 1 or 2 chapters after the last ending where it's just like, why do I have these weird memories? I'm like, I don't know. Everything's canon.
Everything is canon.
And none of it's canon. The show picks a canon.
Weeb's favorite words. Everything is canon.
Which we'll talk about everything is canon further down the line.
For this show?
Yeah, for this show.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so yeah, that happens. This is where we also meet Kiko, the pink-haired lady.
Okay. Keiko? Keiko?
Yeah.
Keiko.
Keiko.
That's how I would pronounce it.
Okay. Nice cut names. But yeah, she shows up. She offers Kyoya a job, but he declines.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And then, yeah, that's that episode. Episode 5, we get the Summer Festival.
Okay. Yeah.
So, just your typical Summer Festival episode, basically. They do a maid cafe. Everybody works at the maid cafe.
Yep. What's her name? Nanaka has been working more on her singing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is the last episode part this, because she's been working more, practicing in private. They've been uploading stuff to, not YouTube, but the actual Japanese equivalent of it, which is like Japanese only. Nico Nico, I think is the real word of it. Whatever. It's basically YouTube, but for Japan. So she's been like gaining a following there a little bit, but she doesn't know necessarily how big it's gotten until later in the epised.
She's not aware of it. Isn't it just Kyoya doing it?
Yeah, like he's the one doing like the physical like uploading and stuff of it.
Well, I don't think she knows that he's uploading.
Yeah, but like they show her like viewing like criticism that she's been getting in comments and stuff. So like she's obviously she's obviously like seen some of the videos, but no, they've been like, no, she's been working on this, diligently putting in the time to do this and they flash back to her showing, like, okay, here is.
I thought that was later for some reason.
It's it's implied to have been happening in the background for a while now. There's supposed to be a bunch of bands playing, with one of them being like a mystery band. That mystery band drops out, and they're like, "Well, it's a mystery band. We can get anybody." So they're like, "Well, let's get Nanaka." And then she's like, "No, I won't do it.
I'm scared. What if I suck?
I'm bad? I'm not going to perform in front of that many people." And that's when he pulls out the reveal that you've already got an audience of 10,000, because here's a 10,000 view video. Which, God, I wish we had one of those. I'll settle for 100 views. But she's like, okay, that gives her kind of the little boost she needs to go ahead and do the performing. And when she's in the fire, when she's under fire, when she's in the moment, she's good. She's on top of it. She's those that do well under pressure.
Yes.
So when I was trying to throw a metaphor in there, and I just botched it completely. So
she's thrown into the line. She buys a hat. That type of metaphor.
Now we can tell. Up to this point, we haven't really talked about it, but up to this point, there have been some, romantic inklings of Shinoaki and
she's
Nanaka.
making a move.
Yeah,
she's making moves.
Yeah, they're both getting closer to Koya, and you're like, okay, this is
Nanaka's a little bit.
This
more,
is what I'm in.
She's a little bit more like, background, like, I like him, but I'm not showing it.
Yeah.
Shannon's like, hey, how you doing?
You do. Especially at the end of this episode, because expect...
Okay. Before, you want to talk about the song she sings?
Oh, yes, I do.
I assumed you wanted to talk about that song.
I had forgotten. The music starts playing for the insert song that she's singing, and I'm like, I know this song. I kept listening to it. Where do I know this song from? And I'm like, it's God Knows from Haruhi. And I'm like, this is, first of all, genius move, because at the time that this had come out, that show was like airing, and that was a big, like, he knew that was a big song. Mm-hmm. So when like she was learning the cover of that, that's like, yeah, that's going to be a popular song that a lot of people are going to be covering. We can kind of get ahead on the surge. We can take advantage of the public appeal of this song. Yeah.
Or intelligence. One of those two.
One of those two.
They're both 16. It doesn't matter.
It's the same bonus. So he's like, this is a good time to use, to capitalize on the popularity of the song, because it's at its height right now. Yep. And then if you want, you can look up who the voice actress is for Nanaka, and you can look up, she's got a band that does a full cover of this song. So if you're mad that the song cuts out, you don't get the full song, you can go to YouTube and listen to it on their band.
Cool.
Which I did once, but I cannot remember the name of the band.
I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah. But then like after the concert, you think there's going to be like a big moment with Nanaka, and
because she's looking for Kyoya.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is my time.
This is your time.
I've got dibs on Nanaka. You've got dibs on Shinoaki. This is... I'm pulling ahead. Baby. And then we learned that, oh no, they left a little early because Shinoaki had a headache or something. And we cut to them.
And I took the lead, baby.
Stole the lead. She stole a kiss. And then they're kind of like... The next episode... That's like the end of that episode.
Yes.
The next episode, they're like...
Also, Nanaka's song Do It.
Yeah, which is crushing. And then they all live together.
You watch that like, oh crap, stuff's about to go down. And then they kind of just brush it over.
Yeah. Well, they're like, there's one scene where he's like, he's in his room with Shinoaki, and he's like, oh yeah, I guess this is sort of a thing. And he like starts to try to make a move, and then gets stopped from it. The Nanaka starts to be like, I got to make myself clear here, because they also work together. Nanaka and Kyoya work the same convenience store
part-time.
And there was a scene earlier on where they were like stocking the back shelves or whatever, the freezer section. So you're behind the shelves and you put things through the slider or whatever. And she's like putting something on a row while he's crouched down, and it's like accidentally got her, I don't know, what are you gonna call them? Bazongas, boobs. Tits,
boobs, I don't know.
Breasts.
Any of those?
Boing-loings. Boing-loings is nuts. No. She's got her breasts on top of his head. Accidental, she doesn't necessarily realize it. After episode 5, she does it again, and she's like, I am deliberately doing this. Please get the message. And he's kind of like, can we just like...
Ignore this?
Ignore this because we need to work together. Because is this when we learn more about Tsuruyuki?
Yeah,
episode 6?
Episode 6 is when we learn more about Tsuruyuki.
He's got a betrothed that came to visit him.
Okay.
And his family wants him to be a doctor.
He comes from a lot of doctors.
Yep. He's paying for his own college tuition, and he's skipping a lot of classes because he has to work so he can pay for his classes.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, Keiko said that, she'd give me a job or whatever. Maybe we can use her, like indie game development circle to make a game of our own and have them market it for us and sell it. And then, if things go well, we can
pay your tuition.
And he's like, all right, let's do it. You're the writer. Shinoaki's the artist. Nanaka's got to do probably some of the acting, but also the theme. And
I think she does do some of the acting, but she does music as well.
And then, and I'll be the producer and whatnot and project lead. So he's like, kind of have to keep working, and I can't afford for a third or fourth of the team to be in a sad state because I am, because of my, personal feelings or whatever. He's like, I got to kind of keep everyone.
Oh, okay. You're going back to the relationships or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, I got to keep the relationships in a spot where they like me enough to work.
It's like, I like them both, but I don't want to be romantic with any of them right now. Yeah. Especially now that we have to make a game together.
Yeah, and it's tough. This is where the Constitution score comes in. There's lots of all-nighters and bugs that need to be fixed.
Decisions have to be made.
He uses his intelligence and wisdom to decide what type of game they're going to make, because he's like, I knew the trends from like 10 years ago. This is right when this type of thing can blow up. It's a visual novel, but he's like, he knows the genre of visual novel to do. Don't make it too like supernatural, because that's starting to fade, and what's starting to rise in popularity is going to be this, so we can kind of corner the market.
We're 10 years too soon.
Too soon for isekais. They're what, in 2006?
Yeah, that's where.
So it's right, yeah, because that's when the first season of Haruhi aired, was 2006. So that was when that was real big. It's probably also real big when they did the 2009 season, but whatever. 10 years too soon for isekais. But he's like, we can get this type of market, this type of story. They make a lot of cuts and like tough calls, which you need to do in game development in order to meet deadlines.
This is episode 7, but they blend together. It's an arc, whatever.
Yeah, I'm talking about stuff now because I'm in the swing of things. You've got all your little notes of what happens in each episode, and then I always trample over you with my interpretation of the story, which
that's fine. You're the talker. I'm the funny one.
Does not. My mom said you were the funny one once after listening to like a minute and a half of our podcast and finding it funny that we treated it like a real show. I'm like, well, it is a real show, Mom.
You're just mad that your mom thinks I'm funnier.
She didn't say that. She said it was funny that you were treating it like a real show, and it's like, well, it is.
That's the bit.
Is this podcast just one giant bit that nobody's paying attention to?
Yeah.
It's not true. Our friend Brock says he listens to every episode.
Yeah, he's not on the bit, though.
Yeah. Rowie says he listens to the episodes. His wife said it would be really funny to listen to when drunk. And we said, not what we're going for, but we'll take it. She seems like it would be. She's only listened to the episode that Dylan... probably only the first one that he was on. He made her listen to it. But maybe he made her listen to the other one, too. Yeah, it's a popular show. So we'll have Dylan back in the future. Maybe not as soon as we hoped, but possibly soon. I'm sure he'll come back. We still hang out with him. Try to hang out with him every week.
Was at my work today.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw him today.
Did you whatever.
I was working. I was busy.
Okay.
Anyways, they're making the game.
Yeah, they're making the game. They make some tough calls, and then
Kyoya makes some tough calls.
Yeah, Kyoya makes some tough calls.
He has to basically not fix the plot or the script, but change it to make it more...
To make it quicker to be done.
Yes. And maybe a little more basic.
Yeah.
Not basic, but like streamlined, mainstream. Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah. And he also he rejects Aki's suggestion for an art because it would take too much time.
Yes. That is a key point that will play into some stuff that happens later.
So he's making some tough calls, but they get the game done.
And it sells buku bucks. They get enough money to pay for Sarayuki's tuition.
They made enough.
Which
is tuition. It might be a bunch.
Yeah. No, it's also Japanese tuition. They probably don't charge as much.
It's also could have been like a semester's tuition.
Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah.
But they make enough. Sarayuki goes, hey, I thought I was good at this writing game. I thought I could make it with how talented I was naturally. And then I see you, and you're just leaps and bounds above where I'm at. It's like you've got 10 years of extra experience.
It's like you have 10 years of extra experience.
And he's like, I can't compete. I can't, he's dejected. Mm-hmm. He quits school, and he goes back to his hometown, presumably to become a doctor like his family wants. Mm-hmm. We should note at this time, we have learned that each individual member that he is roommates with is one of the Platinum Generation.
Yes.
They all had
every single one of his roommates.
So he didn't realize
he's part of the Platinum Generation.
Yeah. And he's like, shit, I fucked up the timeline. One of the Platinum Generation just gave up on becoming one of the greatest writers of my time or whatever.
We just had John Grisham stop writing books.
So they're like, okay, fuck. And he's like depressed about it. And then Keiko mysteriously shows up. Mm-hmm. And it's like raining. It's a cool scene.
Yeah.
And she's like, I wonder what life would be like in the future if things were to continue on from this point. Wakes up. It's 12 years in the future.
12? I thought it was 11.
I think it's 2018. He was previously in 2016. And it's
12
12 years in the future.
Yep.
And this is the point that I don't like.
Yep.
I'm like, fuck, they introduced time travel again. I don't want this. I want slice of life with a little bit of drama and romance, making movies together. That part of the show was so interesting that I loved when they were like, fuck, we have to make another movie. Like, that's what I wanted to... That's what I wanted to watch. Not this, okay, now we've got to time travel.
Now he time travels. He's got to deal with his repercussions of changing the timeline and all that.
Yeah. And he's working in games. His old chief is working pretty much in a parallel position of where he's at. She's in charge of Team 1. He's in charge of Team 2.
A and B.
Whatever. She's in charge of Team 1. He's in charge of Team A.
A and B.
1 and A.
No.
They're equal.
A and B.
They're different. No, that's bad ground. I don't want to tread that territory. A and B. You're right. Okay. He's married to Shinoaki.
Yes. So I win.
Yep. They've got a daughter who's like 5 or 6 or something, or 4 to 6.
Looks exactly like Shino.
Yeah, exactly.
It's creepy. Huge head and everything. Yeah. They took Shino's head.
Put it on a child.
Doesn't work.
It's fine most scenes, but there's like 1 or 2 scenes where we're both just like, shit, she's got a huge head.
Yeah.
He works in the games industry. They're working on like mobile games.
Yeah.
Fucking.
They specialize in like mobile free to play games. Gotcha games.
They're doing gotcha games. The Shinoaki though, much to Kyoya brings this up and is like surprised when she's like, oh, I haven't drawn in years.
Yeah.
And it's just it turns out that she's just kind of burnt out on it. He talks to somebody else about it, I think, to get the full story. But she was kind of burnt out on it after like her ideas that she has for things were constantly being cut for a good time. And even though he was so supportive of the art she did, she just felt creatively restrained and was like, there's nothing left I want to draw.
Yeah. So she quits. And it's
kind of a point of contention. And he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry.
Blames himself.
He never tells anybody that he doesn't have the past 12 years of memories. I guess it might be 11 years because he jumped back 10 years, but it might be like 2007 when he jumps forward again. So whatever. He's like, I don't have...
He's farther than when he jumped back.
Yes. So he's lost 2 years or whatever. But he's like... The rest of the show is kind of like him being like, okay, fuck, Nanaka like gave up on singing too just recently, and she never got as big as she was supposed to. Mm-hmm. And then
you can't find anything about
Tsuruyuki.
Yeah. So like he never wrote anything.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, but I'm in this job. I got to make the most of it. Mm-hmm. There's some frustrating things going on that. The demands of the company are like, you need to do this, this, and this. And his team is fine, but the Chiefs team is like suffering because they have to...
They have this huge game they have to make, but there's a bunch of bugs, bunch of delays.
Bunch of delays. The artist is not producing art quick enough, so he's got to try to convince her to...
engine.
Yeah. But he pulls through his solution, and he's like, we'll just use the engine that I use for my game.
Yeah.
And it'll cost a little bit extra licensing fees to use it for both games, but we'll be able to meet within budget. Like I chose this engine specifically to try to fix this problem because you made us build our own engine from the ground up, and that's the source of all the bugs that just can't be fixed in time. So he saves the day again, and he's like, fuck, I did it again, where like I took charge, and now the chief he gets a message like, oh yeah, she's flying to Kyoto, and he's like, fuck, is she quitting? Okinawa. He's like, fuck, is she quitting? So he rushes to the airport, and she's like, I'm not quitting. I'm going on vacation.
Yeah. You told me to take vacation.
Yeah. But she's like, you need to learn that, you can ask for help. Like,
yes.
All these people not doing things is sort of both your fault and not your fault.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you were doing your best for the situation, but, it's because you were doing your best, others couldn't do their best, sort of thing. And he's like, okay.
Because he never asked for help.
He never asked for help, specifically, like, from her.
Yeah.
She, like, accidentally confesses her love for him. And I'm like,
yeah.
Bitch, he's married with a kid. And she's like, ignore that part.
He was married.
And he's like, okay, now that I've solved this problem, Keiko shows up and she's like, do you want to go back and redo this again? And he's like, yes.
I want to go back.
I want to go back.
But before he goes back,
he's like, I got to
say goodbye.
I gotta say goodbye to some people. And this is the point of the show where I'm like, man, if he goes back, I've been talking about this for episodes at this point. I'm
yes.
Like, if he goes back, that little girl dies. Like, she will cease to exist if he changes the future.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he ends up with Shinoaki again, they're not guaranteed to have the same.
Technically, kid. It's technically not going to be the same.
Yeah, because that's not.
It's not.
I guarantee it's going to be tremendous odds that he gets the exact same sperm to hit the exact same egg. Yeah. Now, maybe that's not how. We don't have time travel, so we don't know cause and effect. Maybe the soul prevails no matter which, but that little girl is possibly
she does not exist anymore that we know of.
So this show killed a little kid. This fucking show.
Every good anime.
This is where we can bring back the conversation where I said all routes are canon. That's the only explanation they can give me that will make me be like, okay, you didn't kill that kid. Is if this route canonically happens in some multiverse somewhere.
Okay.
Or if they pull a Bunny Girl Senpai, the second arc of Bunny Girl Senpai, where everything that he was seeing was a projection of the future and had not actually come to pass yet.
Mm-hmm.
Simulation. But if it's not one of those two things, they killed a young girl who did not deserve to die.
She was annoying.
She's fine. You're not an uncle. You don't know. You don't know these things. You just have little cousins. It's not the same. They don't capture your heart.
You're right.
I know, because I also have little cousins that do not capture my heart. Whatever. I should say my cousins' children do not captivate my heart. But there's also like 30 of them, so.
No, see, I guess close ones. I got 5.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Children, whatever.
Killed that little girl.
Whatever, kids.
Yeah, so he goes back to the past.
Samurai Jack. That's the theme song for Samurai Jack. Gotta get back to the past. Samurai Jack.
I've never seen Samurai Jack.
You're killing me, Ben.
I'm sorry.
I never finished Samurai Jack.
I didn't watch that. I was like a Nickelodeon Disney kid. I'm sorry.
Look, alright, it's fine, man. It's fine.
It's too different. You were a Cartoon Network. I was a Nickelodeon.
I watched Nickelodeon stuff too. I was at the point in my life in summer vacation where I wouldn't. In the morning, I would turn on Nickelodeon and it would be, Nick Jr. or whatever, and I would bear through it until like 11 o'clock. Whenever.
Why?
Because there wasn't anything else on. What was I gonna watch? Reruns of Scrubs? No, I was 10.
Watch Disney Channel.
Didn't have anything better on. It was all Disney Junior stuff too, or like live action shit I didn't care about.
Did Nick Jr. not end till 11?
I think 11 or maybe 10. It was on most of the morning. There's definitely a part where they started playing Fairly Odd Parents instead of Dora. So,
okay. What did I watch instead of Dora? I don't know. definitely don't watch Dora because I don't know any Spanish.
I definitely watched some Dora, and I know less Spanish than you, Mister. I took 3.5 years in high school.
That's true. I forgot every word.
C.
I don't know what that means.
The C.
Oh, I got you. That's English.
Yeah, I was just saying random words.
Not true. All right, we're getting off topic.
That's fine. We're pretty much at the end of the show.
Pretty much. He goes back to the past. And then
he goes back to the
tries
past.
To start fixing some things.
Yeah, it's not like he comes back basically the moment that, or maybe like a few hours after he left.
Yes.
So it is, Tsurayuki is still
gone.
He's got to be like real careful around Chinoaki because she's not felt like drawing recently. Mm-hmm. And then he's also got to be careful around Nanika because a lot of what her thing, like we mentioned briefly in the future that she like gave up on singing. She did like kind of like come back to it like a few weeks later. Yeah. It's like, I wrote another song, and she talked about like her issues with trying because she was so dependent on somebody else who's not in her life anymore, Koya. Mm-hmm. So he's like, I gotta like let her be independent on this. I can't help her with everything. Yeah. So there's like we see a scene where she's like, hey, these people approach me to do like a song for their thing, and he's like, yeah, you should do it. And she's like, will you help? He's like, you should do it yourself. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, he's already making right steps in that direction, but you can see where it's setting up as, okay, hey, there's more to this story. Maybe you'll get a season 2. Maybe you'll have to read the light novels or whatever. Yeah. But it's setting up season 2. He's got a better perspective of how he should be, less controlling in people's lives and more open to their things, but also still like, doing what he wants to do, which is not fixing their problems. It's becoming an artist himself.
Yeah, becoming who he wants to be.
Yeah. So you got to go it without this, like, you're not a savior.
Yeah, he's not a hero of justice.
Yeah, he's got to approach this more rationally. It's like his determination is like, I'm going to do better because I know this. I can go back.
I liked. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You saved yourself a show.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, okay, I like what they're setting up.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that means that we don't have any more time travel shenanigans, because that was just like, I don't want that. I don't want him to constantly have to go back and fix his mistakes, which, is great when like Steins Gate does it, but they do it to great effect, and they don't do it for too long. It's like, if that makes sense.
It's the whole second season, isn't it?
First of all, Steins Gate only has one season. It's just
second part.
There's only so much retread ground, though. Okay. Like, he's making, like, there's an episode where he keeps going back to try to stop something, to be vague about it. And then, like, they spend like one episode of like all the different ways that he's trying to do that. And then it's not just that. They do go back a lot more, but it's new ground. They're going off in different directions. I don't know. Okay. It's not like here's 6 episodes. Now here he is back again doing the same 6 episodes, but this time slightly different or whatever. Like,
gotcha. Okay.
Which is not what this show did either, but it's what it could have been when they first were like, okay, they're introducing time travel, and this has got a bunch of source material. I bet the time travel comes up a lot, and he's got to redo things again, and I really didn't want to get like a fresh start on all those characters, because I pretty much liked their interactions that they had.
You think what I'm thinking?
That our audience doesn't know that we constantly quote the other guys when they say fresh start.
Think what I'm thinking?
Fresh start?
Yeah.
So fresh up in here, they call us the Febreze brothers.
Just wanted to punch you in the face right now.
Another fresh start? Yeah.
Sorry.
It's like, I like that the interactions that they had build up. I don't want to like, reset those, because he could potentially fuck up those relationships somehow. He's like, he's got the established relationships that he's got now. Now he just needs to make sure they don't go in the direction that they are going to.
He got his one like redo.
Yeah. Which I'm just hoping it's the one. Like, I just...
You don't want it to be where he goes back in time, does some things, then he jumps forward again, realizes it's still not right, and he goes back. That's
I don't want
cheating.
That. I want the premise that he's got the 10 years of experience. Like, if that was the only time travel in the show at the very beginning, and the rest of it was just, Slice of life, going to art school.
Yeah.
Romance shit.
That's
the show I want.
That's what I was in for.
So hopefully season 2 is more of that and no more like time travel shit. Yeah. So if there's a season 2, I'm probably not going to read source material on this one. But I will gladly watch a season 2 of this show.
Yeah. So I have the same feelings as you. It sure lost me a little bit once they went back to the future. Yeah. It just became a different show. Became a little bit more drama-y, less slice of life romance. Yeah. Which that's what I wanted.
Yeah. No, we're pretty much on the same boat about this show.
Yeah, the show basically have the same views on.
Do we want to rate the show next? Do we want to talk about dib count and
we can do dib count first.
Okay. And so
dib count.
Shinoaki, you.
I got Shinoaki.
I've got Nanaka.
I've got Kawasagawa, the chief.
I've got Kawasagawa's older sister, their teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sisters again.
Which I think we talked about all those dibs on the episode we did with the fall or the summer preview there. Because all those characters have been introduced. Oh, okay. We talked about the sister dibs being our ideal situation because then we could finally be family if we married a pair of sisters.
Then I have Minori, who is an artist that we meet in the later episodes.
Yeah. Who was inspired by the game that they made. Which reminds me, can we get a copy of that game? Can we make that? Can I play? I'll play that game.
Oh, look it up. What was it called?
Haru Sora or something like that?
Look it up.
Okay. You continue on with dibs count. There's not much left.
That's all I had left. Those are my 3 that I remembered to write down. Okay. I don't think there's really anybody else. Did you call dibs on Kyoya's sister?
Maybe?
Or did I do that?
I think one of us did that. And I'd probably blame you quicker than I'd blame me for that.
What do you mean blame?
I don't know. There's a girl in the club, too. The club they join.
Oh, I have dibs on her.
Okay.
I know that one.
Yeah. We didn't really talk about the club. They join like a fine arts club. That's like their hookup for the concert or whatever, is that some of the people in there were in charge of that. And that's
also how they got like the camera guy.
Yeah, the camera guy was in that club. Mm-hmm. And they also, one of the guys in the club knew a guy who did really good backgrounds.
So they had him help
They had him help. And he like fainted because he recognized the name or something.
Yeah, I think it was some famous, another Platinum Gin person.
Wasn't quite Platinum Gin, but maybe Diamond or Pearl.
Diamond or Pearl, yeah.
Soul Silver, Hot Girl, one of those. Yeah. But he's like, he recognized the name and he had like some sort of weird... And they never really explored that, why he passed out because of that. But they got him to do backgrounds for the game or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're really not that important, the Fine Arts Club. So... I think they're also like friends with Keiko too.
Yeah,
she would stop by in there. She like technically graduated, I think, at this point. So
yeah,
maybe she was
like she sounded like she was like a student and everything, but
maybe she was just an upperclassman. Because she's also, I think, friends with the older sister who's a teacher. Like they
yeah, you're right.
Classroom friends together or whatever. But it might have been like
she's also a time traveler.
She's also apparently a time traveler. And maybe a protagonist of a failed game. I don't know.
Maybe immortal.
Maybe.
Maybe
she's God.
Maybe.
No, that can't be. God's the principal.
It's the sister? Yeah, she was a teacher. She was the principal.
Yeah. No, I was making a Sunny Boy reference.
Yes, I know.
We don't know who the principal of this art college is, because that's definitely a thing that art colleges have as principals.
Who does he look like? Is it David Lynch or something? Who does that guy look like? The principal?
I think you're right. I think he does look a little bit like David Lynch.
Yeah. We'll just say it's David Lynch.
Yeah,
He's
sure.
The principal.
It makes sense. Sunny Boy is pretty Lynchian. We hit false starts, so it's not quite there. But on my count, we just reached frag time. I'm just saying. It's just, again, not in the actual episode because of the few false starts, but we're reaching our goal. Our goal is frag time.
Yeah, we've reached frag time.
We've done it.
That's a reference to a movie we watched. Go listen to the episode.
Frag time. We also talk about Ride Your Wave.
Yeah.
A much better movie. A better movie.
Yeah, it's a better movie. All right, so that was dib count. You want to do best girl? Or do you want to do ship of the week?
So it's not called ship of the week.
Ship
all
of the
aboard.
podcast. Or ship of the fortnight.
Again, we call it all aboard.
Okay.
That's the official name of the segment.
Okay, all aboard.
All aboard! And I'm not going to edit in the bell sound. I probably won't. It's too much work. And then we're always talking right before and right after that it's hard to get it in right away there. But yeah, I would say ship of the week.
It's all aboard.
All aboard. This show wants me to say it's Shinoaki and Kyoya.
Okay.
Because they get married and have a kid. I still think best girl is Nanaka, though.
You think Nanaka's best girl?
Yeah, I love her.
Okay, we're doing all aboard.
I know.
Okay.
That affects my rating for all aboard, because I like the ship of Kyoya and Nanaka better than the canonical ship, because the canonical ship gets reset.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't actually happen.
Okay.
Anything can happen in the future.
Okay. You're probably going to say Shino, and you think I'm going to say Shino and Kyoya.
I do.
You're wrong. I think it's Shino and Chief.
Ooh, okay. Now that's acceptable. I like that one better than
those last couple episodes. I'm like, they got it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I definitely like that.
I like Shino, but
I can see myself being swayed away from Nanaka and going to the Chief.
Hail to the Chief.
Hail to the Chief, baby.
But yeah, I like Kyoya and Chief. The Chief.
Yeah,
that's my ship.
It's solid. I can respect that. Okay. So I would say we can agree that's the ship of this.
Okay.
That's the ship of this. That's the ship I think they actually want us to start looking at more closely.
Okay.
Because I don't think the Shino, she's got her ending type of thing. Like I don't think we're gonna get as shippy with her in future endeavors. Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna have some stuff with Nanaka, but I think the ultimate end ship is gonna be Kyoya and the Chief.
Mm-hmm. It's a good name for a ship.
Well, there's like an old internet like machinima series called Arby and the Chief, which is about the Arbiter and Master Chief.
Okay.
So it's got like some name recognition coming in here. But I'm still gonna put Nanaka's best girl for now. I still like her best.
I'm gonna put Chief.
And that's fine. I respect that. Mm-hmm. I'm not even gonna put up a poll. We're just gonna have a tie.
Okay, it's a tie.
You put a tie around the doorknob. You know what I mean?
No.
Nanaka and the Chief are gonna fuck each other.
Oh, come on. Nanaka and the Chief?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two best girls.
Gotcha.
Kyoya can watch.
I'd ship it.
That's the new all aboard.
I'd ship it.
Okay. I mean, is that our segments? Or is there anything else we want to say about this show?
Just give it a rating.
Well, we talked about this a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 7.
That's what I'm giving it.
Okay. We could talk a little bit, go flashback to our episode where we talked about this previously, the summer preview. Mm-hmm. You had this currently listed as your first favorite of the shows we watched.
This was my first ranked.
Okay.
This was my number 1.
And I had Sunny Boy's number 1, and this is number 2.
Okay.
And I think I know the answer to this. In fact, I know the answer to this, but let's get it on mic.
Okay.
Are you switching? Do you like Sunny Boy better than this show?
Yes.
Okay. Spoilers
they are switched.
Spoilers. Eventually, we're going to do an episode on Sunny Boy. I think that's next week.
I think that's our next episode.
Our next fortnight.
Yeah.
We've been having so many like scheduling changes that we're like, no, let's do this, let's do that. Originally, it was going to be one episode. These two shows. Yeah. Which if we can talk to Frag Time,
if we can pull Frag Time off of
Remake, or it'd be way too big to have Remake and Sunny Boy, because we've got some things to say about Sunny Boy. Mm-hmm. My list is not changing as far as my top 10 for this show, but Sunny Boy might kick some stuff out. Mm-hmm. I might have to restructure my list after analyzing Sunny Boy. So Speaking of lists,
it's your number 3, right?
Yep, it's time for my number 3. Do you have a guess, or I know I've told you what it is, but it's been a couple of months.
Oh, it has been a while. What's your number 3?
Okay, well, let me do my recap.
Okay, I think I know it. Let me do your recap, though.
Number 10, Ergo Proxy.
Okay.
Number 9, Welcome to the NHK.
Okay.
Number 8, Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
Number 7, Toradora.
Okay.
Number 6, Fulikuli.
Okay.
Number 5, Space Dandy.
All right, never mind. I thought that'd be 3.
Number 4, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Okay.
That's all I've released so far.
I think I got to guess.
Okay.
Is your number 3 Gurren Lagann?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
My number 3, Steins Gate.
3 is Steins Gate.
Now, I want to put an asterisk on this.
Wow.
I think Steins Gate is the best anime ever.
Okay.
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
It is technically, and it has been 2 in the past.
Uh-huh.
Ava's been 2 in the past.
Uh-huh. What's
but
number 2?
I mean, I can just show you.
No.
There's 2 shows left.
Yeah. What's the second one?
We've mentioned it on this podcast.
We've mentioned it on the podcast. Oh, now you're going to spoil it.
Yeah.
Spoiled it. Where is it?
Not for the... they're not in order. You have to look at the top of the sheet there. I've got a number next to it. There are 3 that are not checked off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I had that major upset that took the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
So this one used to be number 1 back in the day. But this one is now... That one got pushed to number 2 for, it used to be my personal favorite. Now I realize something that I had up at like number 7 or 8 typically was like, no, I really love this show.
Okay.
But Steins Gate technically, I think is like the best anime out there. It's the one I would rate the highest if I were looking objectively. But I like other shows better.
Okay. That one surprised me.
Yeah.
I could have sworn that was 2. Yeah. I knew you were 1 because you were talking.
Yeah, because of the upset. Yeah. But nope. But yeah, that's my list so far. We're getting close to being done with the lists.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are we going to move on to movies we like best next? Or do we want to reintroduce like one of our previous segments where we used to do, like we could do a random anime DVD that I bought, a 30 for 30.
I don't know.
Or
we'll have to
a
discuss
rule
it.
of 3. Anyway, we might be moving away from the list. We've got other lists made. I've got another list made. I've got movies made. My top anime movies. I'm thinking about possibly making a manga list too. But it's like I might have read 18 mangas, so it's not.
I have read
0. I've got the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time manga. That's only 2 volumes. You could read that.
It's too much reading.
It's mostly pictures.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to read pictures.
Whatever, man. Whatever. Do you have anything left to say other than closing us out of here?
No. You should listen to us. We're on most podcast services, including
Apple Podcasts now. We're on it.
We're on it. We checked,
and it magically was on there. we're finally gonna sit down and figure this out. And then you went to go look up like a link or something. You're like, oh no, they're all here.
They're here.
And then all of a sudden we got like a big boost Sunday of like, here's another 88 views that I feel like had been there for a while building up, and it just all got dropped on Sunday when it finally linked to our Anchor account. So yeah, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor again. Yep.
Well, you said Anchor.
Yeah, that's what I started with.
Oh,
I want to say we're also on like Breaker or something.
Breaker, I hardly know her.
I can probably look it up here. I've got statistics.
No, just wherever you listen to podcasts, we're probably on there. If not, go to YouTube.
If not, go to YouTube. Watch that. We're putting up. We've been streaming Chrono Triggers the nights before episodes drop. Normally about like 9:30, 10 o'clock ish. We'll start.
10
probably
o'clock.
Closer to 10 o'clock. You get home at 9:30, and then you got to get ready. Streaming Chrono Trigger. We're getting pretty close to the end of that. I've been uploading those on our off weeks for more content there. You might be seeing a few more content sprinkled in. Like I said, those movies that we were planning on doing for this episode might get released. One of them might be out by the time you've watched this. It might have been out for a week. It kind of depends. Or we might release them in between some stuff. We've got a special coming out soon. We're releasing on Halloween. We're going to be talking about Hellsing Ultimate. Yep. We have 1, possibly 2 guests lined up for that. We're trying to get stuff figured out here. That's kind of the plan for now. there might be more content than you're used to, but we're not gonna. We don't owe you guys anything because I think it's our friend Brock and maybe Rowie listening and maybe one or two other people, but I don't think anybody else is really watching this or listening to this religiously. So if you are, you should tweet at us at anime_territory on Twitter, or comment on the video or leave a review on iTunes. I hear that helps a lot. I don't know how to look at those, but that apparently helps with the Apple Podcasts. Subscribe.
I think they changed the names of it, but
it's not subscribe anymore. It's follow.
Follow us. Just rate us.
Yeah, do all those things. Or don't. Whatever.
Or don't. I'm not your mom, unless you want me to be.
Mom looking for employment. You can teach them about history and sports. Like all moms should do.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I totally forgot to ask about the roommate.
Oh, yeah, you thought... Okay, another segment. We might add another couple...
Sorry, we can cut the poops. We'll cut the poop.
I don't think I'm getting a knife anywhere near that poop.
No, we're cutting the poop. So, the question I had...
If we're cutting the poop, you might have to edit the podcast.
Oh, I don't know how to edit. Anyways, the one question I had about this show was, who was their roommate before Kyoya?
I have a couple of ideas.
Okay, shoot.
Okay. Idea number 1. Their roommate was the chief. She was the 4th roommate there.
Oh, okay.
That's my top theory.
Okay. I like that.
Theory number 2. They weren't roommates before. The fact that they're roommates now is because he was looking for people to live with and they answered to his ad or something.
Or it's like randomly selected, so him putting his name in it changed everything.
Yeah. So I don't think it was randomly selected. I think it was a shared... Like, they're not living on campus or whatever. I don't think it was assigned to them. I think it was, hey, I signed up. Somebody was subleasing this house. I signed up to be one of the 4 people.
I got you.
And then it's 3 random people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Japan works. There might have been more formal things. It might have been connected.
Well, they didn't know each other before, so...
But they did not know each other. So that's my other theory, is that they just weren't roommates before. Like, because they could never find a 4th person, so they couldn't get that house together, sort of thing.
I want to feel like it's one of those, like, foreign students who, like, always stays in their room, so they, like, never talked.
I had a few of those.
Yeah.
One of them I became friends with after he moved out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've talked about this before.
Yeah, I miss you, Dennis. You were cool. Way cooler than me.
That's my
But I helped you with your math homework.
It was just a random foreign exchange student who just played video games in his room all day.
Are you saying that you had that or you were that?
No, I had that.
Okay, because you were basically that, except for you weren't foreign.
That's true.
You worked every weekend, so you went home every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And
I wasn't in my room playing video games all day. I just went home.
Yeah. But the weeknights, you didn't really hang out with us that much.
No, because everybody was busy on the weekdays, and I worked in the weekends.
Yeah. So it's like, you were pretty much that roommate that kept themselves too. I had a roommate who knew a mutual... We had I wouldn't say mutual friend. He was my friend and somebody that this one guy went to school with and was amicable with. But it was still like random. It wasn't like I knew him. He went to school with Cable.
Oh, okay.
And it's like he would go home every weekend and go to bed at 11 o'clock. And I would go to the shared room and watch TV until like 2 in the morning. Or I'd go to the study room and play games until 2 in the morning. Because nobody was using it at that late at night. So it wasn't like I was disruptive. Also used one of those study rooms.
That door eventually.
Nope.
I never used it, so.
I mean, but you can't get access to the dorms unless you, like, live there. You can swipe in, or you have a guest, so they don't need to lock those individual doors because you need to have a card in order to get into the building itself. So, I definitely use. Oh, was that? No, that was. I was gonna say I used one of those study rooms to play Warhammer once with Hank, but that I think was in Evergreen over like a summer. So it was whatever. I was pretty much the only people who used those rooms that late at night, and it's just like watching At Midnight, great show, or like reruns of Chappelle's Show at like 1 a.m, also great. Nathan For You, I watched an episode of Nathan For You that they did as like, because Dumb Starbucks was really blown up, so they're like, here's a sneak peek of from the show behind the guy who did Dumb Starbucks. It wasn't the Dumb Starbucks episode.
Yeah.
It's the gas station one where
That's a good one.
the guy drank his grandson's piss.
What?
So the gas station owner was like, "Hey, it's the thing. You drink your grandson's pee, and it makes you healthy." It's like, what?
What?
And he's just classic Nathan was just like, "Go on,
And
tell me more."
oh, that's a good episode.
It's a great show. Go watch Nathan For You. Don't watch our show. Watch Nathan For
It's
You.
a great anime.
Great anime. Nathan For You, best anime 2015 or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta redo my top 10.
Not until after we've finished. Then we can review the top 10. Okay.
Alright,
Now we're at the end of the show.
Yes.
Thanks for bearing with through the poop talk.
You could probably stop listening at like an hour 10-ish. If we start talking about poop, just turn it off. We're done.
Okay.
Alright, thanks for listening.
Yep, you're now leaving the anime territory.